My name is Emma Duarte.
And my name is Christian Watkins.
And we are Christian teens giving our personal insight with facts and stories.
Welcome to the TBH, Teens Being Honest podcast.
What on earth
Don't make me blush. Don't make me blush.
I forgot he could see my face.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Teens Being Honest podcast. This week's episode, Emma's going to talk about her boy problems.
Wow.
Putting boys over God. And
Wow! You're calling me out right now. Oh
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Teens Being Honest podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Teens Being Honest podcast. This week's episode, Emma is going to be going over her boy problems. Her
Guilty.
attention seeking from boys and putting boys above God and everything that's been going on with that.
Just bring up my dirt. Let's do it.
Yeah,
from the
pretty
past.
much.
Okay. I'm going to start this out by saying I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Not close. Not even slightly. But I got to say it. So one thing for me that was really hard to deal with was being alone. Honestly, we talked about this last week, didn't we? Because oh my gosh, it was actually you, Christian.
What?
Well, because Brianna had told me this for years now, but it was you who solidified the fact. I remember I was kind of like down in the dumps. I was like, Christian, you like, I don't know, listen to me, hold my hand, be a friend. And he remembered, you told me, Emma, whatever you're looking for, you're not going to find in a guy. And I was like, okay. I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't need to be, okay. You had such a strong point there. You're like, Emma, you love, and you want to be loved. And I think every boy wants that. But I was looking so much for a person to accept me fully and to not pressure me and to want good things for me and to grow with me, and I couldn't find that in a guy. And I had gone from relationship to relationship and guy to guy, and I'm like going on dates like once a week, and I'm just like, wow, is there no guy that will just be there for me and be a good, man in my life? And then I'm sitting here, I'm 17. It really shouldn't be like and the thing is now, when Christian said that, I'm never going to find a guy who's going to be all those things for me if I hadn't even found it in God first. And so I stopped. I was just like, no, thank you. I'm going to be working on myself now. We could be friends, but not now. No, I don't really want to go on a date. And it just slowly, I was just like, cut it all off with any of the guys that were interested. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll try this guy out and see if he's nice. And if he's not, then okay, we had a fun time. Next one. But yeah, you're right. You can be so used to going from one guy to another because you don't want to be alone. And maybe it's not even about being alone, but for me it was. And I hated it. I hated being alone. But you're never alone. Mm-hmm. Not really. If you know God is there, you're not. And trying to find in a relationship what you want, but putting it in God's hands is a lot more freeing and less of a headache, because I'll tell you what, a lot of guys had some emotional baggage that I was done carrying. I was done. I was like, dude, I have my own. I do not need yours. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I need to move on. I need to find my happiness in God and myself, be the main character of my life, let go of everything, and be alone. And it's not the worst thing. At 17, I don't think it's the worst thing. At 18, it's not the worst thing. Throughout college, not the worst thing. Maybe
93? It's the worst thing.
Maybe when I'm like, okay, hold on, my clock is ticking, I really want a family. Maybe I'll be a little bit more hasty. But for now, no. I got time. I'm good. I feel great. And next week I might be like, I'm so alone. But right now,
where to turn back to.
Right now, I feel like I'm gonna find what I want in God, and I'm cool with that.
Amen.
The point about the boys over God thing that he was calling me out on was that a lot of times you get so wrapped into relationships and you get so blinded. The saying, love is blind. It's like, yeah, you don't see it, and nobody really blames you for that. It's
What
just
don't you see? What don't you see?
the red flags, right?
Okay.
So when you're in a relationship and there's all these things that are pointing out to you, and like you might even see them, but you love that person so much. Like you were saying before we started filming, you kind of make excuses for that behavior. Okay, so some other red flags that I noticed, and that happens a lot with girls and with guys, is that you can't really be yourself. You're not feeling fulfilled. The communication is not there. I mean, you guys go onto Instagram and there's all these videos of like really cute couples and stuff, but then you see all the crying girls and the videos of themselves that they take, and it's just like, oh, what happened? It's like, he cheated on me, or he's
blaming me for something I didn't do.
Yeah, video games, or he's controlling, or he's obsessive, or he's... I'm not just trying to put it on the guy, because girls can do a lot of things to hurt guys too. But just with my experience, I can really only see it from a woman's perspective. But I think just there's a lot of red flags of just... my last relationship, I was kept a secret the entire time, and he wasn't of the same religion of me, and he knows that that's something that's really important to me. And it's just kind of like I want to be able to be myself and to feel like I can share that with someone and be goofy with someone and you know, just
be yourself.
So I think that there's a lot of red flags, especially when you feel, even for a split second, that it's not right, or that what he said was not okay, and it's hard to see it when you're in it. So ask people, ask your family, ask your best friend. If she's a good best friend, she will let you know, or he. Every single guy that I've ever dated, my best friend's been like, no. Or like, Emma, he doesn't treat you well, or Emma, it's not gonna last, or Emma, he might be nice now, but like, did you see the way that he did this, or he treated you this way when you said this. To try to pinpoint it and really think about it, it's hard to remember, but it's there, and you kind of hold on to it even subconsciously, how you were treated. So that's what you were saying about the whole eternal thing, like, it doesn't just go away. And you were also saying you want to, we accept the love
that we think we deserve.
Right. So, in that kind of sense, a lot of stuff happens from holding on to that pain. Going back to that, having that backpack. It's hard to carry it, and it devalues you, and it makes it so everything is happening against you, and what that can do is put you in a situation of insecurity, of a not worthy mindset. And my advice to you guys is to try to let it go. I mean, it's easier said than done, but when you realize everything you've been holding on to, you have two options. You can either keep holding on to it, and that stuff is in your past. Everyone knows you can't change your past. No matter what you do, it's done. It's happened. So why do we spend hours upon hours overthinking and thinking about it and wanting to change it? It's because we wish it had gone differently. But it didn't. It went the way that it did. And if you are like me and you believe everything happens for a reason, great. It's easier said than done. And to me, letting go of all of that, all of those mistakes and those hardships and that pain, and just really saying, it takes a split second, but you have to work at it constantly, really just closing your eyes and saying, God, I want to let it go. Give it up to you. I don't want to hold on to it anymore. God, can you take this from me? You say that every day, pretty soon the load starts to get lesser and lesser, and you start being able to see the blessings that God gave you, because your happiness is up to you. I know that it's such a cliche way of like saying these things, but it's true. If you're in a relationship and the man or the woman that you're with is not happy, it's not your responsibility. You can only do so much to try and make that person happy, but ultimately, God gave them blessings, and it's up to them to see them or not, to appreciate them.
So, my most serious relationship just lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of experience. I've been dating since I was 15. So I've been down this path. I'm 16 now, so, I've got some experience there.
Right.
Just turned 16.
Right.
And
how was the divorce?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's been hard. But you keep talking about this baggage.
Right.
But I want you to talk about, you were talking with me before the podcast,
About?
all these girls feel pressured to do different things they don't
Right.
want to do. You were saying that love is blind, but just I want you to tell people what are some of those red flags
Oh, yeah.
if they don't get that
Okay.
from their parents or friends. Also, just say how you felt, or when you feel pressured, or when you're getting hated on,
Yeah.
or in an
That's
uncomfortable relationship.
It's a really good thing that you brought up, because my whole thing about doing this podcast is that I don't want to be seen as kind of fake perfect. And I know that, like, I know we're all just trying our best here, but yeah, when you're in a relationship and I'm seeing this guy pressure me into, going too far, or do things, whatever, drink alcohol or go to a party I'm not comfortable with, or we see it as cliche teenager things, right? But it's actually really hard on the person that it's happening to, especially when you don't want it. So lots and lots of guys, especially, this is honestly how the relationship ends, is because they pressure me into having sex, and I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that really degrades you as a person, because then you start to think, oh, that's all I'm good for. Oh, that's all he really sees me as. Oh, if I do that, I can keep him, and I really don't want to lose this guy I actually care about. So that's a red flag. That's a really big red flag. And when you're in it, it's hard to see it, but being strong in your faith is something that, growing up Catholic, morally I knew that was wrong, and that I wasn't ready for that, and that he didn't really love me. And it's a hard thing to sit back and really self-reflect on that, but it is a red flag, especially when he'll pressure you. And it's not that I really blame him. Like, it's not that I'm angry or holding on to resentment, but it's just kind of like, you need to learn what your value is as a human being. And I did virtual mass yesterday, and they said this thing, I'm probably going to mess it up, but it was just kind of like, God sees us as pearls, and he would just throw away everything for one pearl, for a treasure. And you really have to think of yourself not in a pretentious, like, I'm better than everyone kind of way, but really look at your soul, and for once just think it's not ugly.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything I'm saying is really challenging, and it's hard, but the only one who can make you happy is you. And I love to see women and men being the main characters of their life, and taking what happens to them as it's happening for me, not against me.
Also,
and
I'm gonna just chime in real quick. Also, if like you think your soul is ugly, like it always can be clean. There's nothing stopping that from happening. It just takes a little bit of effort. Yeah,
to let go and to really move on. And some way that I like to think of it is that life is a movie, right? And I know a lot of people have like their own things about that, but this is me, okay? I think of my life as a movie. You can't edit out all the bad parts, sure. You can't edit out everything that you wish you could edit out. But I think of the audience as like all the saints and the angels and like all your closest people. They are rooting for you. If you've ever seen The Pursuit of Happiness, this guy gets knocked down constantly. It's a great movie. Will Smith. And I mean, but you're just like, give the guy a break. Can he please just, I mean, he's a single dad. He's lost everything. He's homeless. He's in a bathroom, sleeping one night. And you're just kind of like, oh, man, life has not been kind. But if you could just get up, if you could just let that go of the past and move forward and work towards God, something that will get you happier and get you joyful. And the only thing that does that is God, building that foundation on him. Because in a relationship, and this is what I want to get back to, is when I was in one, either I put a crutch on him of my happiness, or he put a crutch on me for his happiness. And that is a relationship doomed to fail. Because who can make you happy? God. And who chooses to see those blessings is yourself. You can't put any pillar and dependent on someone, not even your family, because it will crumble. And the only person that will never give up on you is God.
And that will never leave.
And I will never leave. That's like my whole thing is when I'm in a relationship, oh, we're just gonna leave, like, oh, whatever. And it's like
break my heart again.
My own issues. I'm not perfect, but I mean, you have to really let go of that past. It's gonna affect your relationships, good ones, and there are good guys in the world. Not all of them will pressure you, and not all of them will make you feel bad. And I always say, like, if your whole family really likes him, then like he's kind of passed a big test there. But
that you can fake pass that test. You can cheat on that test for sure. You can definitely
especially
cheat
if your
on that
family
test.
is like
a little
but
bit shallow.
I'm blessed with a really amazing family. But it's kind of like you're kind of cheating on your future with your past when you hold on to all of that that trauma, that angst, that pain from your past relationships.
I want to make one point with you with what you're saying. Like, if you are a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter which, and you're trying to pressure someone into something that they don't want to do, you may think that the relationship, like if you break up, you're never going to see them again, or if you're in high school, you'll only have to see them for a short little while. But every being that you use or you attempt to make them do something that they don't want to do, they're eternal. So it's not like if you pressure someone into having sex, it's not like you can just leave them and maybe on earth you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
But when you die, they're not going anywhere. That sin's not going anywhere unless you confess that and never do it again.
And guys, that was something that I just recently learned. So if you are just like listening to this and you're like, oh, people are actually eternal and I can't avoid them, like all my exes, what he's trying to explain is that when we're all gonna die. Everyone knows that. We all can't change the past, but when you get there, you're gonna see how everything has happened in your life and the choices that you made, how they affected other people. And when you're in a relationship and say that you made a mistake or you didn't treat someone or you didn't know or you were too naive, whatever your reason is, it's however you affected them. I mean,
you still did. And the only thing you can do, you can't go in the past, like you said.
Right. The
only thing you can do is change for the better.
Right. That cliche saying of be the change that you want to see in the world, that's actually very true because it starts with one single person inspiring another person, not judging. And that's the whole point of this podcast, especially this one, is just not to judge and to be patient with others and to go through your relationships putting God above that person. Because if you're doing God's, will with the person, that you can't go wrong. I mean,
you can't go wrong.
If he's distracting you from God, then honestly, you're not doing it. It's not in God's plan because he doesn't ever want you to be separated from him. And this might be bursting your bubble. And I might be saying some stuff that you're like, no, but I really love him and I don't really want to see all the red flags. And I've been there and I see it and I know how hard it is to let go. But I promise you, there's hope for something bigger and better. And
it's worth it.
It's worth it because it's your joy. It's your happiness. It's your life. You have to be the main character. Take control over it and let it all go.
You want to wrap us up?
Let's wrap it up. I'm just going to make sure I got everything. God, I just want to say thank you for all the blessings and for all the people that are listening right now. If they made it to this ending, I just want to say, if you could please give us some peace, some strength to be on our own, to know what we're worth, to value ourselves, and to let go of all of the past, all the hardships, and to choose happiness. I mean, at the end of the day, to just choose you. Help everyone that's listening. Help us. Jeez, help me, please. I love you, appreciate you, and thank you for all you do. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Okay.
Everyone, thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Bye.